Easy guys, Pete from Roadblock TV. We're back with our fourth update for John the MR2 in lockdown. And it's fair to say, I think more has happened in this last sort of 4 to 6 weeks than it has in the whole time I've owned him. And it's just gone up a notch because I've done something ever so slightly silly, which is out of character for me. So more on that at the end of the video. So today we'll start off by talking about the front bumper. Now it came to us in average sort of condition, a few scuffs here and there. For some reason it looked like someone had been drilling for oil behind the reg plate with the amount of holes in the thing. And the indicators as well are a little bit grimy, but I'm probably either going to swap them out for some newer ones, maybe some smoked ones, or just try and refurb them because they're only cheap. So now I'll be keeping the stock front bumper on the car and just getting a new front lip. So either Aerowave or Greddy is what I'm thinking at the moment, because that'll suit the side skirts. With it keeping the original stock bumper, I wanted to keep it in the best condition as possible, so I have to be quite careful getting them on and off. But we have also taken it off once before, so fortunately it's not too painful. So getting the front bumper off, first thing you need to do is you need to remove these little side trims that are attaching them to the front arches. Once you've done those, you look around the top, you've got your slam panel that needs to come off, and that's really easy because it's just body clips and screws. This then gives you access to the top bolts of the radiator. Bonus points if you can spot what film this angle's from as well. I just couldn't resist recreating it, so bit of a nerd, what can I say? So once your bolts are off that are attaching the front bumper to the body, you can just go ahead and lift it straight off. And that revealed to us a slightly rusty impact bar and a gravel path. Oh wait, that's my radiator. That is going to get swapped for a lightweight radiator at some stage. I don't know when, but it is going to go, so I'm not too bothered about that. But whilst I'm taking the front off, I may as well take this impact bar off, give it a sand back, and then a gloss black hammerite as well, because it's just going to look 10 times better, isn't it? So with the front bumper off, all I had to do was get rid of the old Rev 2 splitter, and the bolts were all in perfect condition, so this was really easy. Except where this is Project John, so they were crusty, rusty. So the front splitter's attached with these like little clips around the bolts, and mine were absolutely fused to the plastic. So in order to get it off without damaging the front bumper, I actually had to get a saw out and go at it individually and chop it into pieces. So it doesn't matter because I'm not using the bumper, but just an absolute nightmare as per usual. And once this was off, I could finally start to prep the surface. I did actually notice a tiny edge on the front where it looks like it was stabbed from the inside. It's like sort of poking out. So I'm going to try and push this back in with a heat gun or a hairdryer later on. Unless anyone's got any better ideas, let me know, but that should work. So the filler I was using was the Isopon plastic bumper filler. I used the metal one when I was doing the sills and it did a really good job. So first things first, went over the bumper with some rough and then fine grit sandpaper just to smooth it and prep it. Then I mixed the filler and the hardener as per the ratio, then we were good to go. You usually get a couple of minutes with the Bondo just before it goes really hard. So I had to make sure both the inside and the top were capped and there was enough surface area for me to sand it back and smooth just before it went hard. No dramas on this one for once. It's weirdly satisfying to do, quite fun. Once I'd let it all dry and sanded it all back, I had a nicely smooth and debadged front bumper. So still slightly rough. I'm going to go over it with a finer grit at a later stage just before its colour change, but good enough for now. So talking the next stages, you'll notice I'm sat here with a turbo engine lid and a new spoiler. So there's a chap who happens to live really close to me, MR2 Sensei. Hello mate, if you're watching this. You'll know if you watched the last video that the bottom mount of my spoiler broke all by itself. It was nothing at all to do with me. I've managed to pick up a new rear spoiler with the bottom mount attached. So that fixes that problem. Although I am going to have to screw the rusty out again. And my turbo engine lids. Now, I'll be honest, I prefer the look of the naturally aspirated engine lids, but this comes with a better rain tray and is a hell of a lot lighter as well, to be honest with you. So whilst I was going over there, it makes sense to just do the upgradings, doesn't it? So now the engine lid actually came to me really quite rough. It was black with really deep flaky paint on it. And it had actually come off a Japanese import car originally. So underneath you've got these really cool Japanese safety stickers on the rain tray. But basically I needed to give this a full sort of prep. So I started taking it back, which revealed a whole rainbow of different colours that it had been before. So I'm glad I took the time to do it. Sanded the whole thing back to as smooth as I could get it. Few coats of primer, just making sure I sand it in between. And then it was time for a rattle can gloss black paint job. Now, considering this was 4 coats of gloss black, I think it's come up pretty well, but it's not perfect. It's got a lacquer layer on, but I think I'm going to have to flat this a couple more times, give it a few more coats and just make sure it's sort of imperfection free, because there's a few little scuffs. And also I dropped the on the floor last night, so the bottom right hand corner is a little bit scuffed as well, so it's just as well. Now finally, some big news. Last week I had a bit of a word with myself and stopped myself from spending £1,000 on basically all of the painting gear I'd need. Let's be honest, it's going to cost me 600 quid for sort of mediocre spraying gear, compressor, guns, all the prep I'd need for the garage. Then another 200 quid probably at least for the paints that I was after. So all in all, I'm probably looking at around about £1,000 if I wanted to do it properly. And even then, this is me doing it. So whereas I was more than willing to give it a go, wrapping the car for 400 quid seems like a much better option, especially as I want to get a stupid colour out of my system without spraying the car. So with that in mind, it's not a cube, it's a big parcel. I've bought some top quality Hexis wrap and I've already started wrapping the car panel by panel. Basically, as I tick off panels that I'm prepping, I'm then wrapping it and going around the car. So I'm not going to show you the colour just yet, although let's be honest, there's no way I'm going to be able to work on this car without showing you the colour. So I'll hold fire a little bit longer, but let's just say I may have made a mistake, it may look awesome, we'll find out. It's very bright. I'm not planning on selling John anytime soon now, and that wasn't the original plan. So I'm leaving the really difficult parts to last so that it's far too late to go back and I just have to go through with it. But he's already starting to look really good, so I am so excited about this. And there is your update for this week. I hope you're enjoying watching the car develop. I'm certainly having a lot of fun doing it. We've had some really good feedback from people new to the series and new to the project, so thank you very much. If you've made it this far and you are new, consider dropping us a little sub. Things are about to get quite interesting, so you might want to stick around and see what happens there. Wrapping it's probably not going to be a smooth process. In fact, it's not going to be a smooth process. As always, you know the score. Any thoughts, criticisms, advice, drop us a comment, get in touch with us via Instagram. And until then, thank you very much for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.